It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Hey, good morning. Welcome to Travel and Cruise Industry News on this Saturday, the 25th day of July. Another hot day in Central Virginia. It's going to be up around 95 again today. Looks like we're actually going to have possibly a couple days next week that it doesn't get to the 90s, which will be a kind of a blessed relief for us here. Although, you know, I've been spending all the time in the pool, so who cares? The 90s don't bother me in the least. All right, we got a whole bunch to do this morning. Again, weather just absolutely dominating the news cycle for the travel and cruise industry space. So let's get started on it. In the latest advisory, Hurricane Hanna is expected to hit the Texas coast sometime Saturday afternoon. Currently located about 90 miles off the coast of Texas, Hanna has sustained winds of 75 miles an hour. Minimum central pressure is 982 millibars, and she's moving west at 9 miles per hour. There's a danger of life-threatening storm surge along the Texas coast from Port Mansfield to Sargent, where a storm surge warning is in effect. Residents in these locations should follow advice given by local emergency officials. Hurricane conditions are expected along the Texas coast from Port Mansfield to Mesquite Bay, where a hurricane warning is in effect. Tropical storm conditions are expected to first reach the coast within the warning area this morning. Hanna is expected to produce heavy rains across portions of southern Texas and northeastern Mexico, as much as 12 to 18 inches in some areas. These rains could result in life-threatening flash flooding and isolated minor to moderate river flooding. So that's what we'll be watching throughout the day today and into tomorrow as Hurricane Hanna prepares to hit the Texas coast. And that's not the only hurricane we're dealing with today. Hurricane watch issued for Hawaii as Hurricane Douglas nears with strong winds, heavy rain, and coastal flooding. What we've learned at a glance about Douglas is it's the first Eastern Pacific major hurricane of 2020. She has started to gradually weaken, but is still likely to strike Hawaii on Sunday. It may either be a tropical storm or a low-end hurricane as it sweeps through. Heavy rain, strong winds, and coastal flooding with high surf are expected. The exact track of Douglas will determine how much of the islands see the strongest of winds. Currently, Douglas has sustained winds of 110 miles per hour with a minimum central pressure of 975 millibars. She's moving west-northwest at 18 miles an hour. Douglas continues to approach the main Hawaiian Islands, potentially passing dangerously close to or over the islands Saturday night through Sunday night. The close passage of Douglas brings a triple threat of hazards, including but not limited to damaging winds, flooding rainfall, dangerously high surf, especially along the east-facing shores. It's vital that the residents do not focus on the exact forecast track or intensity of Douglas and remain prepared for changes to the forecast. Due to Douglas' angle of approach to the islands, any small changes in the track could lead to significant differences in where the worst weather occurs. Even if the center remains offshore, severe impacts could still be realized over the islands as they extend well away from the center of the storm. Terrain effects can cause strong localized acceleration of wind through gaps and where winds blow down slope. These acceleration areas will shift with time as Douglas passes near the islands. Winds will be stronger at the upper floors of high-rise buildings as well. So we're expecting Hurricane Douglas, whether it will be Hurricane or Tropical Storm Douglas, by the time it reaches the islands, late Saturday night, Hawaii time, or early Sunday morning and through Sunday night. That's Hurricane Douglas approaching the Hawaiian Islands. And just to keep things complicated, we got Gonzalo out here in the still in the Caribbean. Gonzalo, however, has weakened considerably since we talked about it on Thursday. It's down to 40-mile-an-hour winds. It's still a tropical storm, but just barely. The pressure is up to 1,009 millibars. It's moving west at 18 miles an hour, and it's expected to really get into some cooler water there along the northern coast or north of the coast of South America, which should completely weaken it, and it'll dissipate. But the big problem out there in the Caribbean is the big yellow X over there just off the coast of Africa. It's a tropical wave, and they got those code names. I don't even know what this one's called. It's not anything yet. Tropical wave. It's producing an area of disorganized showers and thunderstorms a few hundred miles southwest of Cabo Verde Islands. The wave is expected to move westward about 15 miles per hour during the next several days, and a tropical depression could form by early next week. Now, basically, folks, what they're saying on this one is over the next 3 or 4 days, there's very little chance of further development. But if you move 5 days out, they're talking about 60% chance of this sucker going on up the range, becoming a depression, and then a tropical storm, and then a good possibility of it being a hurricane. And they're talking about the path of this one now. The models are showing that this time next week, that could be over like Jamaica. So there's a possibility that this sucker, we're having an active season and down in the tropics already. And, which is, this is, if there's anything good about the situation we're in this year, it's an active season. None of us are out there on boats getting chased around by hurricanes, which I guess is a good thing. So, all right, couple stories beyond weather today. Most of you have probably heard this business with CDC yesterday. I'm not entirely sure what it means, but basically the CDC is asked for some help. They're asking cruisers to answer a questionnaire on any questions you can answer. There's something like, 28 questions or something. And some of them are things that we as cruise passengers could answer. And then there's some technical stuff that's beyond our knowledge anyway. But basically, they're looking for some guidance and preventative measures related to cruises as they are heading back to approving getting cruises started again. Okay, now on the one hand, you're thinking, oh, well, that's great. They're getting closer. They're not saying absolutely we're not going. But the deadline on this questionnaire, it doesn't have to be turned in until the 21st of September. So let's say 5,000 people fill this damn thing out and send it in to the CDC. Okay, the 21st of September. Then they've got to do something with that data. They got to compile it. They got to put, these 28 questions together with the answers and come up with some kind of sense of what it means. And then they got to make a decision on what they're going to do. Does that mean that I'm thinking they're going to be cruising anytime soon? Hell no. I mean, I'm sorry, but the CDC is, to me, has been weak through the majority of this. And I realize that there's political an element involved in this whole situation. And there's still good people, good health people in the CDC, but still, I'm not entirely sure that this is a good thing, So, I mean, as it stands right now, they still got the no sale thing up until October 1st. And then beyond that, who knows? But if this means anything worthwhile, that means they got 9 days after the end of when this stuff's supposed to be submitted to them from all you people out there in the cruise world for them to decide something and then act on it. And I'm sorry, I don't have much faith in that one. So, do I think we're going to be sailing this fall? Do I think my friend Jason in Pittsburgh is going to be sailing on October 3rd or 4th or whatever, that first week in October? I still got my fingers crossed, Jason. But I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith that that's going to happen, unfortunately. Although there's some encouraging signs from the bad spots as far as maybe all the upward stuff is leveling now in some of the bad areas, Texas, California, Florida. Maybe there's some beginning signs of what could become better news. It's not there yet. But chances are we're heading in a right direction. So let's hope so. And a couple other things you probably heard in the last day or so since I was on Thursday. We talked about this before. Royal Caribbean changing the muster drill. They're doing away with that awful thing where you had to meet a big glob of people and before you sailed and you got checked in and all that. And we've all been through them, every time we've been on a cruise because they require you to do it as part of the safety drill. Well, now they're going to do this, do it on closed circuit television. You can watch it in your cabin. Apparently the way they're going to do this to make sure that everybody in fact does it is you have to watch it in your TV in your cabin, this muster drill. Then you have to go from what you learn from watching it on TV. Then you have to walk your way up to wherever that is on the ship that your muster station is. And I don't know if an official there is going to ask you questions about what you saw, or if you slap mustard on the side of their head or something. I don't know. But anyway, you're going to be tested to make sure that you watched it. And I'm not sure that this is going to work, but it's better than the mess that we've been going through. So to me, this is a good possibility of a decent improvement that everybody's going to be in favor of. So that's my take on it. So I'm all in favor of it. And apparently some other folks are now lining up and trying to get Royal Caribbean to allow them to use this whole program. Like I think Norwegian wants in on it. There's several of the smaller groups that are going to do it. Guests have to review the safety drill information on their smartphone device or stateroom TV prior to setting sail, eliminating the need for the large gatherings. That's the whole purpose of the thing, is to eliminate, having a big glob of people. So, if it works, that's great. And I'm willing to try it. I am, I like that better. I always hated those damn things. I mean, the first time I was on a cruise, I learned that where you had to go to get on a lifeboat. And hated them ever since. So anyway, so that's going on with Royal Caribbean. And the other thing that came out yesterday on Royal Caribbean is the Royal Caribbean and Celebrity have extended their cruise with confidence policy that allows you to cancel your sailing up until 48 hours before you sail. It was originally announced back in March that Royal Caribbean was going to allow that. Well, now they have extended that program off into the future. So you can cancel right up to 48 hours of your date without getting penalized. So that's a good thing. All right. And this week's confusing program comes out of the Bahamas. And again, folks, don't get your all your hopes up. The Bahamas earlier in the week shut us out. Said, Americans can't come to the Bahamas. Well, they reversed course on closing its border to U.S. travelers over surging coronavirus infections in both nations. Less than a week after Prime Minister Hubert Minnis announced the closure of the tourism-dependent nation's borders to commercial air and sea visitors from the United States, the Attorney General said Friday all international visitors are now welcome. But, and that's a but with 3 big capital letters, B-U-T, but you have to go through a 14-day quarantine at your own expense before you can do anything in the Bahamas. So they're going to welcome you with open arms, but you're going to spend 14 days at your own expense before you can go out of the hotel room. So you're going to be totally quarantined in a government facility and take real-time chain reaction COVID-19 laboratory test at the end of the isolation. So not too sure that this is an improvement. I think this might be totally political in nature. I'm sure that Mr. Trump and some of the powers that be in the United States are stepping on the Bahamas' head because of this. And so they backed off, sort of. But it certainly isn't enough for us to get all excited about and to feel like we can travel to the Bahamas anytime soon. I wouldn't want to, why would I go to the Bahamas and have to be quarantined for 14 days? No. I'm better off in my pool in the backyard. So, all right, let's pause for a word from Scoot Around.
Do you have a bad back, bad hips, bad knees, or any other mobility issues? Think about Scoot Around. For scooters, walkers, wheelchairs, even oxygen needs, delivered right to your cabin. Scoot Around for all your mobility needs on your upcoming cruise.
Okay, Sunday's coming up. And now, of course, I co-host the show with Pete and John. Pete from London and John from up in Minnesota on the Cruises for Solos, Cruise Amigos. That's what we call ourselves, the 3 Cruise Amigos. Our guest this week, and this is going to be another really good show. Special guest Sunday will be Pam Hoffey, who's Chief Operating Officer of Globus Family Brands and Managing Director of Avalon Waterways. Globus includes Globus Touring, Cosmos Touring, Monogram Vacation Packages, and of course the Avalon Waterways, which does river cruises in Europe and India and the Galapagos Islands and I don't know where all. It's going to be, I think, a very interesting program. Aboard Avalon's elegant and innovative ship, travelers see the world's villages, vineyards, and vibrant cities from the perspective of its legendary waterways, with the inclusion of award-winning land programs led by expert local guides at port, Avalon travelers are immersed in their destinations. I'm looking forward to it. As you know, I've admitted, folks, I don't know squat about river cruises. I've never been on one. I'm learning. Last week, I had to. I didn't know why there are always short ships. Hadn't even thought about it. It's because it's the Brit. They got to go under bridges. Well, I mean, there's a good logical reason for it. I just didn't know what it was. So, all right. So, 2 weeks ago, actually a little bit more than that, when Sue Bryant was the guest, she's a travel writer. Sue was the guest. I asked her about what she thought about a port of call. What's her favorite ports of call?
I knew that one would come. I knew it. I know. Again, I can't have one. I can't have only one. Nobody has only one, do they? So I made a list. Well, not port. I mean, places.
Yeah.
Antarctica. No one port, but I mean, just mind-blowing. Raja Ampat, where the aqua blue picture was, which I went with my partner on that trip, and we were on a kayak. Again, I like kayaking. And I was thinking to myself, I've never been anywhere so beautiful. And he suddenly said, I've never been anywhere so beautiful. I mean, just like amazing. This stunning place with these great big cliffs falling into the sea, and you can see the fish under the water. And that was amazing. Sea of Cortez, because I love wildlife. And that was the whales and the dolphins. They're extraordinary in the desert. And the Galapagos. And if you want a port of call, Venice. I love Venice. I don't care what people say that Venice is ruined, Venice is blah, blah, overcrowded. I love it. And I was sort of thinking, if you said to me, any itinerary around the Mediterranean, what port would it have to include that would make you say, yes, I'll do it? And it would be Venice, always.
And last week, I asked Janine Williamson, who's another fabulous writer, what she thought about ships.
I like I love small ships. So I love the Star Clipper ships, Cunard, Crystal, Silversea. I'm naming too many, I'm sorry. River ships, Uniworld, Quasi Europe, out in France. So you can't pin me down to one, sorry.
Thanks, Sue and Janine. Okay, that's it for this morning. So let's go over and see who's here and who's talking and what's going on in the chat box, since I've paid absolutely no attention to you guys since I went on the air. Of course, Amy was here early. That was amazing. Hi, Amy. Hi, John. Tom's with us. Gretchen's with us. Tom wants to know how I like the tequila guns. They were fascinating. That you've managed to collect guns that are, they're bottles of tequila, decanters or whatever you call them. Anyway, I found it interesting. Like Gretchen's asking what the hell we're talking about. Yesterday was tequila. Was it yesterday? Yeah. Was tequila day, which I started the day off saying, oh, it's tequila day. I'm hiding under my bed. There's, a couple of you guys know the story. The last time I drank tequila, I woke up the next morning in Houston married. And the problem with that was I was drinking the tequila in Pittsburgh. And that was an expensive shot of tequila, let me tell you. Okay, Nikki's with us. Hey, Nikki, how are you? Nikki and Gretchen. Say Emily's here. Hey, Emily. Yeah, it's hot in New York. Man, it's been hot here. Oh, man. I'll be going right out to get in the pool here very shortly, as soon as I get stuff downloaded and uploaded and reloaded and whatever all I got to do to get everything done for the day here in the office. Let's see what else. Emily's talking about the gov. Our governor said if the numbers look good, kids can go back to school. If the numbers are bad, they won't go back to school. We have to wait and see what the numbers are. Yeah, at least we know that your governor, unlike some of the other governors, he'll do the unpopular thing if he has to. And for that, I give him a lot of kudos and a lot of respect. And again, folks, I'm not making a political statement on that. I've seen what he was able to do with the situation that was awful in New York early on and what it is now. So hats off to you folks in New York. I'd like to see the other states heading more in that direction. Amy says, I don't think the CDC really cares about getting people back cruising. I don't either. When they start with the false assumption that a cruise ship is a petri dish, it doesn't matter what cruisers say. Amy, I completely agree with you. I think this whole thing with CDC is a joke, but who knows? Emily says that Don's cruise vlog recently said sailing may start in 2022. I think it's I think we'll do better than 2022 myself. So, but then that's my Gretchen's keeping her fingers crossed for spring. Yeah, I'm thinking by spring we got to be in a lot better shape. And I'd love to say, folks, I'm hoping that you guys that are booked in the fall and still have open bookings. I mean, I'd love to be wrong on this one, guys. I would love to be wrong, and that things will be where it's safe to go, not only to cruise, but to get to the boat from wherever you live this fall. That's the thing that I still am most worried about. Again, for my personal situation, some of you are in a little different situations than I am because I'm older than a lot of you guys. I'm 71, and I live in a household with an 80-year-old and an 86-year-old. So we are extremely careful with everything we do, and that's not going to change. Even though the state, opens everything up. I mean, I'm still not going out to a restaurant. Not until probably not until I see a vaccine or something of that sort. Will I feel comfortable literally going out in public like normal in the situation I'm in for my personal health and watching the health of my sister and her better half. So if that means I put off cruising for a while, I'll put off cruising for a while. But that's my personal situation. Doesn't mean I won't be rooting for you guys to go. Emily says, I got a text from NYS saying next week NYS will be giving out the last 600 of pandemic unemployment money. Then I'll be able to go back to work after that. Cool. I unfortunately didn't get any of that money. I had a capital gains last year, and that put me out of the boat for any of that nice freebie money. So that's okay. I mean, I had the capital gains, so it's not like I was really hurting for money. So anyway. Tom Henry is off unemployment effective Monday. Wow. You got to go back to work, dude. Amazing. That's good news, Emily says. There's Pete. Hello, everyone from a rainy UK. So Pete's with us this morning from over there in London. He's the one that talks funny, Yeah, he talks funny. By the way, one of my favorite friends over there in Scotland, Rona is back for her second weekend in a row in Liverpool chasing ghosts of the Beatles. That's what she's doing. And we're going to do a little chat about her trip to Liverpool. We're put it. I got busy, and we're putting it off till next week because we'll have I've actually added some more pictures from her weekend this weekend. And we're going to have a chat here. It'll be up and going probably, first of the week on her 2 weekends in Liverpool. So she's actually somebody that has been able to take a trip. So not many of us have been able to do that. So that's why I am going to do a little chat with Rona about her trip. And she's from Scotland. And I really like my friends from Scotland over there that I've met through Pete and crew. Let's see. Can't wait to visit Venice with Chillie. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that too, Pete. Let's just hope by then everything goes well. And John says, thanks, Tom, but backgrounds, if you have any that I should use, please send JPEGs to me. Oh, the backgrounds for his craziness up there. John does some weird things with backgrounds. Good afternoon, amigo. John says, Pete. So anyway, everybody's here. Glad you guys are all here today. Folks, I'm heading for the pool. I mean, it's going to be hot and 90 here again today, as it is all weekend. I will stay on top of the weather situation as we've got stuff literally happening all over, our space with Texas and Hawaii. Both are going to probably get hit to at least some degree in the next 12 hours or so, 12 to 24 hours. So I'll keep up with that. I'll probably be doing some updates throughout the weekend. And I'm sure I'll between now and Tuesday, when I'm back here on Travel and Cruise Industry News, I'm sure we will have updated several things. Then don't forget tomorrow, 3 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. That's 8 o'clock London time for the Cruise Amigos. And we will have our show with Pam Hoffey, which is going to be another, I think, very interesting show. I'm looking forward to it. All right, guys, that's it for now. You guys have a wonderful weekend. Stay away from the hurricanes. Be safe, people. Stay healthy. Wear your masks, all that good stuff. And I'll see you next time.
Thank you for watching today's Travel and Cruise Industry News. Join us every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern for another episode. Travel and Cruise Industry News is a production of Chillie's Cruises.